Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. What is happening in Manipur? We saw that there were some rocket attacks a few days ago. We had a very informative discussion with Niranjan Desai on what was happening on the ground. But since then, what has happened? Are the Manipuris, all combined, all ethnicities, are the Manipuris losing faith in the Modi government, particularly in the BJP run Biren Singh government? All these questions and the way forward with Savio Rodrigues. Savio, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you? I can't hear you, Savio. Yes. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. To answer your question, which is a very loaded question, Sree, at this point of time, disappointed in the Modi government for not finding a solution to the conflict in Manipur. But I don't think they are losing faith. What they are is venting out their angst against a hope that they had for the Modi government to deal with the conflict in Manipur. The conflict in Manipur, as we have been discussing for the last 16 months, is a conflict that has multiple layers, like an onion. And you can actually peel each layer and you would find tears rolling down your eyes with each layer. The protest of the students, which started yesterday with a 24-hour ultimatum to the government and the center that they want a replacement of the DG as well as the security advisor to the center on the Manipur conflict, as well as they've asked for the resignation of the CM. Because of that 24-hour deadline, there were further protests today, and the students were marching to the Raj Bhavan, and they were stopped by the Manipur State Police and the other authorities that were around. Reportedly, 40 have been injured when there was a lathi charge, or there was a disbursement act conducted by the state authorities. The police also fired in the air. They did not fire on any of the protesters. But the point is that the protesters are angry. The people in Imphal, in the valley, are angry. A couple of days ago, there were attacks which were by drones as well as by rockets that targeted villages of the 𝗤𝘗𝘗 community. These, according to the 𝗤𝘗𝘗 and even the investigative authorities, show the hand of 𝗤𝘂𝗍 militants in it, 𝗤𝘂𝗍 terror groups involved in it. Now, to give you an understanding, the terror groups in Manipur are across the communities. They are involved with the 𝗤𝘗𝘗𝑠, they are involved with the 𝗤𝘂𝘍s, they are even involved with the Nagas. And this is something that the NIA had found out some time back. The point is, are people really being disappointed that there is nothing being done on Manipur? When behind the scenes, there are a lot of things that have been done by the government, but it is not reflecting in the communication to the people or in any action that has shown a resolution or a peace that is forming within the state. And therefore, the separation continues unabated. Today, it is about 𝗤𝘗𝘗 and 𝗤𝘂𝘗𝘏 pushing for a separation, mostly from the 𝗤𝘂𝘗s, demanding for a separate administration. And the 𝗤𝘗𝘗s are frustrated that they cannot get an answer to the constant attacks that they are facing because of the 𝗤𝘂𝘗 militancy that is happening. Now, unfortunately, for Prime Minister Modi, he has been the one person that has been working for the socio-economic development of Manipur. But today, when protesters in their anger tore down posters of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which was on a billboard, they climbed up on the billboard and tore down that poster. It is a sign of times to come in Manipur where the frustration levels have reached the height. Now, the 𝗤𝗍𝘗𝑠 themselves do not want the center to control or to bring about change in Manipur because they haven't done it for some time, 16 months. And they are really, really angry about it. So they have very little hope in the government resolving it. In fact, Biren Singh himself with the MLAs met with the governor of Manipur and asked for a unified command wherein the state takes control of the situation and the forces, including the forces of the center. Why are they asking for the removal of central forces? Because they don't have belief in them. You've had conflict happening between the 𝗤𝗍𝘗𝘗 community and the Assam Rifles. You have conflict happening between the 𝗤𝘂 community and the Manipur State Police. It is really becoming an arduous task for anyone to be able to deal with the situation. So my personal advice to all concerned are two things. One is the resolution to the conflict in Manipur can only be got through dialogue, and that dialogue has to happen between the conflicting communities as well as the other communities in the state. Because what you are doing is, by this constant conflict and escalation of the conflict, you are taking Manipur back to the times when it was already ridden with conflict. You are moving ahead with socio-economic progress. Yes, there should have been some action from the state. There should be some action from the center. But that does not allow for you to destroy what is actually the future that you have cemented for yourself. And that is the problem. As far as the center is concerned, I personally believe that the center must take full control of Manipur at this point of time. It is an open wound. It is an open wound that is festering and could lead to an amputation if the center does not take control. It is time for Modi personally, and I repeat, as a friend of Prime Minister Modi, to personally take over the situation of Manipur into your hand. Because if there is one person that can bring about a change in Manipur, it has to be Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he must make it a point to meet people of all communities in Manipur by interacting with them, by bringing to them the hope of peace. They don't have any hope right now, Sree. They've been becoming victimized and sort of put in a box, and therefore they are reacting. They are also going to fall prey to anti-national elements that want to foment trouble in Manipur after Bangladesh. I've already highlighted it in an article and in your talk shows earlier that you do have the Chinese influence, you do have the CIA influence, you do have Islamic radicals like Jamaat-ul-Ansar working with the 𝗤𝘂 National Front, trying to create trouble in Bangladesh, and now they're creating trouble in Manipur as well. So you are opening the doors for anti-national elements to flare up an already flared up situation. So it is time for Narendra Modi to take Manipur, the situation of Manipur, in his hand. It is a time that people are not, I wouldn't say they're losing faith, but they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They do not know who to turn to. This is the angst that they are having. And when the youth comes out to protest, they are coming out because they are frustrated. All you have to do is to see the exodus of people of Manipur from Manipur going to other states. You will see so many of them in the last 16 months moving to other states, looking for socio-economic opportunities in order to get away from the conflict in Manipur. Manipur, whether you're in the 𝗤𝘂 area, whether you're in the 𝗤𝗍𝘗𝘗 area, the common person, the common Manipuri is suffering. He is a victim of extortions by these so-called terror groups or so-called groups that are protectors of the community. They are constantly targeted for extortion. They are constantly targeted on the guise of protection money. The situation is grim in Manipur. And it is important for us to actually take out a strong, strong message, a message that comes out from Prime Minister Modi that Manipur is and will always be important to him more than any other part in this country, because he has worked so much for the Northeast. Everything he's done is this what they want to spoil. All these anti-national elements want to destroy what Narendra Modi has done. And unfortunately, the unseen action of the government, the non-reported action of the government, the conversations and the peace talks that are happening behind the scene is not getting reported, is not getting highlighted, and therefore the people in Manipur are not knowing what is happening. All they are seeing is an escalation of the violence, and that is disturbing them.
Tell me what is wrong with this picture. My guest is a BJP member. The BJP is at power at the center. The BJP is also ruling Manipur. The people of Manipur are not happy. Where do they go and find the solution? This is the question that somebody from the BJP, especially from the center, has to answer. I'm being very neutral here. I'm not casting aspersions or anything like that. For an average observer, this problem has been festering for, like you said, 16 months. Nothing seems to have borne fruit other than the claims that this is not a religious conflict. Yet it got played out like that. It got voted on like that. And the loser is almost always one side, and the one side needs to work. The losing side, which unfair in my opinion, needs to work extra hard to regain the confidence. So I don't understand why this problem is allowed to fester. Like, for example, one of the things I'll tell you, Savio, thought balloons were being floated. Biren Singh is going to resign. Biren Singh has come up with a 6-point condition that he needs, otherwise he's going to resign. Then another one, he has gone to meet the governor, he has gone to submit the resignation. Article 356, president's rule is going to be imposed. Everything, float balloons. I don't know whether it is right or wrong. Clearly, people in Manipur, if I am halfway across the world and I'm seeing these conflicting messages, think about what is happening on the ground amongst the Manipuri people. We are not talking any sides here. We are just talking about a general person who wants to live in peace. What are they to do? Why is the central government? This is squarely with the Ministry of Home Affairs as far as the center is concerned, and it's also the BJP government in the state. What is really going on, according to you, that is not being done that should be done?
See, the most important aspect, Sree, is the responsibility of what's happening in Manipur is in the hands of the Home Minister. The Home Minister was working with the security advisor and the DG in Manipur and the various central forces that are there. Now, you need to understand that you have conflicting communities there, and I'm sure the Home Minister is aware of it. The fact of the matter is, each time that the peace talks come to some sort of movement, there is an escalation of the conflict. That escalation of the conflict is wanting the conflict to persist. And when a conflict is persisting, there is also not only hands of political players within this country, there are also hands of political players outside the country. Therefore, it is important for the one person that matters to many people in Manipur, and that is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The anger is directed towards him. Well, unfortunately, I can tell you this man has worked a lot for the Northeast. Unfortunately, the person getting abused on the ground, and I've heard it myself, is Narendra Modi. And for what? Because somebody in the system is not able to resolve the crisis in Manipur.
You mentioned peace talks. Peace talks between whom and whom? Because nothing is coming out in the press.
So the center has got an appointed interlocutor that was talking to Maiti groups, they are talking to the Kuki groups, they are talking to the Naga groups, they are talking to various different stakeholders in the Manipur community. They are trying to arrive at some pathway as far as resolving the conflict is concerned. The Kukis want a separate state. That was their demand. There is, of course, a push from international forces to push the 𝗤𝗏𝗄𝗏 𝗤𝘗 into a separate nation, carved out of Bangladesh, Manipur, Mizoram, and the 𝗤 state in Myanmar. There's an international push for that. The 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏s in Manipur have initially wanted to settle for a separate autonomy, a separate state on its own, and that is what they are pushing for. So each time you neglect a wound, so the wound is what? There is a conflict that has happened 16 months ago. There were certain things that went completely wrong. There is an investigation that's going on that is being monitored by the Supreme Court. Each and every flare up that is happening is because each of the side is getting frustrated and they are trying to send a message. That message is that we will create and foment trouble because we know that you are weak. That is the message. Nobody, whether it's 𝗤𝗍𝗫 or cookies and any of their terror groups that is funded and weaponized by China, cares what the Indian government thinks. They just want to control Manipur. They want to divide Manipur. They want to ensure that the narcotics trade in Manipur flourishes. If you look at the narcotics trade in Manipur, ever since the conflict has happened, you will see that it will only increase. It will not decrease. Because the situation after Bangladesh comes back to Manipur, where there will be a need for the growth of narcotics. And narcotics is not only poppy. Narcotics is also the synthetic drugs, which is happening in Manipur. A large portion, 51 to 52% of the narcotics trade is synthetic drugs, and that is a huge market. You make production for 10 to 20 rupees and you're selling it at over 500 to 1,000 rupees. That's the value of synthetic drugs. So there is a geopolitical game going on in Manipur. Therefore, I have been advising from day one, ever since I visited Manipur 3 times, that please see the geopolitical and the narcotics hold in the northeast states, in particular Manipur, ever since the conflict in Myanmar was escalating. And that is the reflection you're seeing here. Bangladesh went through a protest, and that's how they removed the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, and she predicted that. We are facing a really volatile situation in Manipur because our enemies see that there is a wound that is open, so they keep sprinkling salt and more salt into it, and that's why it keeps escalating. Now, the only way to deal with a wound is to ensure that the wound is covered, so it's allowed to heal. It requires a doctor's treatment. You cannot leave a wound to fester.
If you go back and look at, in a very neutral way, how the Modi government has dealt with riots, whether it is Shaheen Bagh or any other riot that came after that, the record is not very good. Whatever reasons can be given for not doing anything. Now, not doing anything is not an option, because even the chief of RSS, Mohan Bhagwat, said that Manipur has been festering for far too long. You need to fix it. Now, with all the heavyweights expressing their concerns, for some reason, the Modi government doesn't want to do anything. At least it looks like that on the surface. And I'm just leaving it open-ended. I'm no one to say what should be done. And
Sree, it's not that they don't want to do anything. I disagree with you on that, very politely and humbly.
I said appears to be on the surface. Listen. I said appears to be on the surface. I'm not saying they're not doing anything. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm saying that whatever they are doing is not being communicated to the people who are stakeholders in this conflict or to the larger section of society. When you are involved in a peace process or peace talks, that is what you need to be highlighting to people. By being silent about what is happening, nothing is getting conveyed. So people are not, it's like a parent, right? If a parent is not able to communicate certain activities that they are doing for the children are left in the dark. And that's how the discontentment or dissonance with the parents happen. It's the same thing here. So I think there is an imminent need for Prime Minister Modi to personally take Manipur in his hand, the conflict of resolving the Manipur issue in his hand personally, and go and visit the people in Manipur. There is an imminent need for a dialogue and peace building measures that get translated on the ground.
You know,
And happening
you
in
have a
Manipur,
point
not
there.
in Delhi.
You have a point there, but the longer the Prime Minister delays visiting Manipur, the longer he's playing into the hands of the opposition. Inside his own party, some are saying that Modi has been warned by the Chinese not to go to Manipur. I mean, he has not said anything to that. I mean, he has kept silent. Whatever it is, if there are compulsions, it doesn't help the situation on the ground. That's all I'm trying to say here. And I'm being completely neutral in this observation because both sides have their grouses. It's been there for 16 months, and something has to give. Something has to give. I don't know what that is.
See, the bottom line, Sree, is very simple. Every person who loses a family member to a terror attack is shattered. It does not matter whether they are cookies or 𝗤𝗍𝘗𝘗 in this conflict. They are shattered, they are angry. At this point of time, the eruption or the escalation that you have seen in Manipur is because there has been a terror attack that has happened. People have lost their lives because of this terror attack. There has to be some level of peace building measures between the communities and dealing with the terror groups in Manipur. I'm saying that over and over again. These terror groups in Manipur are not necessarily representatives of the communities. They are playing into the hands of the Chinese because the Chinese are funding them. The Chinese are giving them the weapons, and the Chinese are also training them. And it doesn't matter whether they are 𝗤𝗍𝘗𝘗 or cookies or Nagas for that matter. That is the truth on the ground. It is the innocent 𝗤𝗍𝘗𝘗, it is the innocent cookie, it is the innocent Naga and many others who are in Manipur who are facing the brunt of the inaction against curtailing or dealing with these terror groups and these insurgents groups with an iron fist.
Well, questions and no answers yet. We'll keep you posted, viewers. We just wanted to, tell the situation because more often than not, and there's so much noise on the media, whether it is, here's one more video. Whose bonfire is being burnt here?
This is at the Manipur University. Outside the Manipur University students.
See, anytime you bring the students into a movement, things get out of control. Students are emotional, hyper emotional. They don't know the consequences of their actions, so they just jump in. And if somebody incited them, then shame on you. This is what politicians usually do. I've seen it all too closely when Telangana movements took place so many times over the period from late 60s up until, 2014. And finally, Telangana got separate statehood. So I know what happens. The students are the ones who just jump in without thinking about consequences, but it's always a politician who's behind instigating this. So I don't know who that is, and I'm hoping that some solutions, some answers will come out of this debate. Thank you so much, Savio. We don't have any questions for you. It's just that many people are having a lot of observations, and everybody is unhappy. This is the point. Everyone is unhappy, and something needs to.
I just want to give one message through your YouTube channel. It's to the people of Manipur. I have always maintained that irrespective of your community, you are good people. You have done well for yourselves, not only in Manipur, but outside of Manipur as well. What is happening in your state right now? The solution lies with you, not anybody else. The dialogue, the peace process is in your hands. Nobody else can do that. And you should not allow hate to overpower the socio-economic progress that Manipur should have and must have.
Thank you so much, Savio. And viewers will be back again very shortly on a different topic. Please join us again. Namaskar.
Thank you.